Yeah, I do, Randall. Mr. Mack. How's it going, Ray? I appreciate that, Jason. Good to have you, man. Good to have you on the channel. We're going to let a couple people get in here and then we'll get started with it. Yeah, no kidding. I agree. Mike, I'm using some of our leftovers from New Year's. I guess y'all can hear me all right. I appreciate that, Peter. Thanks a lot. We'll give it just a few minutes and then I'll get started. I started a little bit early just to see if everything was working right. I got a new little camera and I'm using some different software to stream to YouTube, so I want to make sure that it was all working right. This stuff's complicated. Cooking with James. How's it going, brother? Y'all check out Cooking with James. We got about another minute and then we'll get started. Let everybody get in. Narrowed down my search for a pellet grill to a silverback or a pit boss. Brother, there's not a whole lot of convincing to do between the silverback and a pit boss. You need to go with the silverback. Ask Rick. Rick just joined. Ask Rick if he thinks you need to go with a silverback or a pit boss. And not that I think pit bosses are terrible, I just think that silverback is a lot better choice in the long run. Let's go ahead and get started with this thing. All right. Good to have everybody. Just want to start it off by saying, giving a big thanks to some guys that were on the live stream last week that did some super chat donations. And I started to do like a stream on the bottom of the screen with their names and all that stuff, but then I kind of thought, well, what if they don't want their names mentioned on there? And so you know who you are, and I want you to know that I really appreciate that. I didn't expect that, and that means a lot. So I just want to say thank you. And I've changed the look of the live stream up a little bit. I got a new live stream camera, and it's the Logitech C922 live stream camera. And so far it looks like it's pretty clear, a lot clearer than what it was. And so y'all tell me what y'all think about it. Did a little research on some lighting and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll give a little better live stream experience along with it. I'm also using OBS software to do the live stream now, instead of just using the regular YouTube that was only going into 720p instead of 1080. So maybe that'll make it look a little better. So just trying to improve the channel as we go, you know. And you know, I couldn't do it without all you guys, so I want to say thanks once again for all that. Scott, a pit boss is definitely not better than a Yoder. I'll go ahead and stop that right now. Yeah, it's a lot brighter in here. It's a lot warmer in here too, Rick, to be honest with you. That's why I got a cool drink to wash it down with. Second thing I want to do is give a quick shout out to my daughter. She's in college and living on her own, and she got her first grill over Christmas break. Got her little kettle grill, and she's already started. You know, she's already made 2 cooks on her kettle grill, and doing good with it. She did some country style pork ribs the other day, and they turned out pretty good. You know, and it's a learning curve. You know, and it's funny to watch her go through the learning curve. But it's just like everybody else. You know, when all of us started our first cook, we you know, we were kind of fumbling around, didn't really know if we were doing it right or not, and it's kind of a trial and error type thing, you know. And she's going through the same stuff, you know, whether it's over direct heat or indirect, or, you know, things like that. And so I kind of got her some things to kind of get her on her feet and give her a head start, you know. And I think she's on the right track. She's doing really good, and I'm proud of her. So, you know, trying to get another one out there in the backyard just piddling. So I'm proud of her for that. Hey John, how's it going, man? Good to see you, man. And it's funny that somebody's already mentioned the Yoders and stuff like that. I got a question earlier in the week, it might have been yesterday, about they were trying to decide between had kind of decided on a Yoder, but it may be the stream, John. It might be. I'm still working out a few bugs on this thing. Hey Mark, good to see you, man. But I had a guy ask, you know, that he was going to choose a Yoder, but he didn't know whether to use get a stick burner or a pellet smoker. And yeah, it's definitely lagging some. But you know, that depends on your cooking style and how you want to cook and what your goals are, you know. If sometimes you're going to come home and want to throw something on the grill pretty quick, you're not really going to be able to do that with a stick burner like you will a pellet smoker. At the same time, you know, you're going to get different flavors from a stick burner than you are a pellet smoker. So you need to kind of evaluate, you know, what your cooking style is and what you're going to be looking for on the end product of that kind of thing. Also your fuel source, you know. For some people it's a lot easier just to order you know, a couple bags of pellets and get them dropped off right at your door, rather than you know, getting a load full of wood dropped off at your house or something like that. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're talking about whether to get a stick burner or a pellet smoker. So just something to think about there. Either way, all the Yoder products from what I've seen so far are excellent. So I don't think you can go wrong either way. You just need to make sure it's going to fit your needs. So I appreciate it, man. I hope it isn't too bad. I'll have to do some research on that and see what's making it do that. Yeah, it's jumping real bad on here. It might be my my Wi-Fi or something. I don't know. I may have something set wrong. There's no telling. You know, that's one thing about making changes. You know, you're trying to do a little bit better, but with this technology, you know, I mean, I've been jumping through hoops and everything else for 3 days, watching videos on how to set things up and all that stuff. And, you know, I guess it's probably easier for 20-year-olds than it is for 40-year-olds. So, but I'll get the bugs worked out. But I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. I'm trying to do 1080, but I did the speed test, and it was a lot better than one of the guys that I was watching do the video on. So I wonder if I can go in to OBS and change it. That's what I'm trying to do, is OBS. I don't know, it may kick it off, but I will try and see if it will. Output, maybe. Video. Yeah, let's try. Yeah, I would have to cut it off and then cut it back on and all that to change it. So next time, because see, on the OBS it's clear as a bell, but I guess in between the OBS and streaming to YouTube, that's where it's getting lost at. Yeah, I'm trying, John. I'm trying, man. Hot and fast. That's a good question, Scott. The problem is I don't ever really do hot and fast. I'm more of a low and slow kind of guy, and you know, when I get out there and cook something in the backyard, I say low and slow. It depends on what I'm cooking, obviously. You know, I'm guessing you're talking about more larger cuts of meat. There's a lot of people now that do hot and fast briskets and hot and fast Boston butts and things like that, and I assume that's what you're talking about, but that's just not my style. You know, I still like low and slow. You know, I like to spend as much time as I can out there smelling the smoke and listening to some tunes, having a few drinks and that kind of thing while the meat's cooking. So for me, unless I've got people waiting on me, low and slow is the way to go for me. So I guess it just depends on what your goals are, you know. If your goal is just to get out there and get it done and get it in here so you and your family and friends can eat, then, you know, I would say maybe hot and fast is the way to go. I just don't know how that affects flavor. That would be my curious thing, is how it affects the flavor. But I may try one of those. That may be a good idea for a video right there, Scott. Do a hot and fast Boston butt or something like that and see how it turns out. Kind of compare, or maybe compare one low and slow and one hot and fast and see if there's a flavor difference. That might be a good video. Julius, what was your first impressions of the Silverback when you got it? I know for me, I was pleasantly surprised. It exceeded my expectations on the field test, at least. Justin, where are you at, buddy? It was it's going to get in the 30s here in South Georgia tonight, and it is windy. You're right. Jason, that's funny you ask. I have not tried sous vide. I think that's how you say it. But my brother, who I hope to get in more of my videos, got one for Christmas, and I don't think he's tried it out yet either, or tried it out, but I'm anxious to see what he thinks about it. But I have not tried that. I've seen it a lot, but I just don't know about that thing. That's a little weird. Scott, I'm gonna make a note of that, and we're gonna do a video on that. Low and slow versus hot and fast. Yeah, I understand your point there, Peter. And then to me, what that means is you got to get a really good one. You know, you can't skimp on one and expect great results like that and be able to do all those things. So you got to get a really good one. That's right, Julius. Rochester, New York. Man, I bet it is cold there. Justin, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. Justin Stanley, God bless you, man. Stay warm. Mark, you and Justin ought to get together. Sounds like a great idea for a cookout. Man, I hate this thing jumping around like that, for sure. That's aggravating. But I will get that fixed. Yeah, it keeps jumping out of good and bad status, so I'm not sure what's causing that. I'll get it figured out. Wrapping butts with plastic wrap. Now, you talking about before cooks, after cooks? $80 yesterday. Well, it was in the 50s here, but the wind was blowing about 15 miles an hour. Tonight it's supposed to be in the 30s, and I don't know if it'll get to 50 tomorrow. It won't with the wind chill factor. I know that. So, but that's what we get for having 80, 75-degree days on Christmas Day. I knew this was coming. I got a fire in the fireplace over there right now, and that thing's looking good over there too. After 3 to 4 hours, they wrap it in plastic and still put it on the grill? I don't know that I would do that. I don't believe I would do that. Now, maybe somebody knows something I don't, and that's very possible. But I just don't know if I would want to do that or not. Yeah, I just don't trust any kind of plastic, really. When you involve heat with it, you know, I worry about fumes and toxic stuff and all that. That doesn't sound right to me, to be honest with you. But like I say, you know, maybe they know more than I do, but I just don't know if I would try that or not. Now, I will say, Stephen, good to see you, man. Sorry about the picture. I'm trying a new camera out and trying to do it in 1080p, and I think 720 might be the better way to go. I don't know if I don't know if the Wi-Fi or whatever can handle it very much. Jason, I do foil, and that's not to say that I prefer it over butcher paper. Here's one of the reasons is because my mother-in-law got me a huge like commercial roll of tinfoil. One kind of like you can get at Sam's. That thing weighed, I don't know, 50, 60 pounds. And so I made me a wooden box for it to go in and all that stuff and all that. I think I showed the wooden box that I made on my channel. I got a little video of that. But so I've got a buttload of tinfoil, and so I just use tinfoil. But that's not to say that butcher paper's not good either. I just think that's kind of, you know, that question is kind of like one of those fat side up or fat side down questions. It's just all in what you prefer, you know. But I can see how butcher paper would be beneficial too. You know, I think both of them have their places. I think maybe the foil might get meat a little more tender, maybe, because of the heat retention and that kind of thing. But then I also think maybe the butcher paper might still let a little more smoke in. But I think either or is good. I don't think there's a wrong answer on that, to be honest with you. Yeah, that plastic stuff, man, that's got me shaking my head a little bit. That's good to hear, Rick. Now on your Traeger, Rick, what kind of Traeger do you have, and is it a Pro controller or like one of the Elite controllers? What kind of controller do you have on that Traeger? And by the way, I had a question about the ironwood that I cooked that prime rib on, or that standing rib roast. Somebody asked me how I like that ironwood, and we're kind of comparing it to the Timberline. That ironwood is an awesome grill. It's probably the best built Traeger that I have felt, like actually put my hands on. I say that to say that I have also put my hands on a Timberline in a store. But there's a difference between lifting the lid in a store and actually cooking on one, if you know what I mean. So the ironwood is a double insulated, you know, wall construction. It's very well built. The size is a big one. I think over 800 square inches, 850, 880, something like that. I think 880, maybe with the top shelf. But the barrel is not completely round. It's oblong from the bottom to the top, so it's tall. So you got a lot of space in there, and I really liked it. It was a little different because the hopper, the pellet hopper, is on the right side. The grease trap's on the left, and all that stuff. So it was a little bit different, but I loved it, man. I think it's probably going to end up outselling the Timberline just because the Timberlines are so hard to get. So I think people are going to end up buying the ironwood because of that. Ever smoked hamburgers and broke them up and put them in some red sauce? I bet that is good. That sounds really good. Now, what'd you do with the red sauce, Stephen? Talking about kind of like an enchilada sauce? Is that what you're talking about? You can absolutely freeze them. Yes, sir. If you get a good deal on them, I'd get as many as you could. As a matter of fact, we just picked up a freezer. It's a small one, a small chest freezer, and if I catch a deal, I'm gonna fill it up. You can absolutely freeze them. Um, okay, how long do you wrap? What kind? How do you need to wrap it? In other words, how do you need to prepare it to go in the freezer? Um, Here's what I did. I got it from a local meat market up there, and these are the two that I did for New Year's. Actually, I got them ahead of time around Christmas, and I just put them in the freezer. Now they were already wrapped, obviously, but I wrapped them again in Saran wrap, and then I put them in my freezer. And as long as they're wrapped solid, they're going to be fine. And then just allow them to, thaw out. You want them to thaw out kind of like you would a turkey if you have the time. About 2 days ahead of time, put it in your refrigerator, let it thaw out slowly, and then go from there. Once they're thawed out good, unwrap everything. And I took a damp paper towel, washed them off, then a damp paper towel or a paper towel, and then blotted off the moisture. And then you can start seasoning them however you want to. Now, the way I do mine, talking about the plastic wrap, AJ, how's it going, man? How I do mine is the day before I want to cook a Boston butt, I'll get mine out, and I'll blot it dry, wash it, blot it dry, and then I use olive oil. If you want to use mustard, you can use mustard. There's really nothing wrong with that. I'll coat mine in olive oil and then put whatever rub I want on it, and then I'll wrap mine tight after I season it in Saran wrap and put it in a pan, so if it does leak, it doesn't get all in my refrigerator. And then I'll let it sit overnight in my refrigerator, wrapped, already seasoned, just to let all those seasonings come together on the meat, kind of draw some of the juice out, stuff like that, and just kind of work on it a little bit to kind of create a little bit better bark. And then the next day, all my work's pretty much done. All I have to do is push a button or light some coals and put it on. So that's the only time I put plastic wrap on my Boston butts, is when it's in the refrigerator, kind of getting happy and marinating before I put it on the next day. So that's kind of how I do that. Beer can chicken. But there are lots of people who say it's a waste of beer. All right, I love this. This is great. AJ done started something. Here's another fat cap up or fat cap down question. Beer can chicken. AJ, this is my opinion that beer can chicken is a waste of a beer. And here's why. All right, you get that big old thick chicken, okay? And you put that beer up in there, in that beer can. But that beer, for it to simmer hot enough and to steam up and impart any kind of that beer into the chicken, it's got to get to a certain temperature. And if you're cooking beer can chicken, for me, I'm going to cook it at 275 or 300. But that beer can is inside that chicken. So that beer can is being protected from the heat by that chicken. It's being insulated, almost like a koozie, if you want to think of it that way. And so if you'll notice, when you do a beer can chicken, and lift that chicken off and see how much beer you've got left in that beer can. From my experience anyway, there's still over 3/4 of a beer in that beer can, which means it really did absolutely nothing. So for me, I would rather spatchcock a chicken, put it down there, and if you want to impart some beer on it, put some beer in a spritzer and spritz a spatchcock chicken. And I think you'll get a better result out of that than doing a beer can chicken where you shove that can up in there and it just kind of sits there in a lukewarm soup. But that's just me. What's Peter trying to do? Get me in trouble with the old lady. Hey, buy it. Just buy it. It's better to ask for forgiveness, Peter. It's better to ask for forgiveness. Hey, I got a shed out back. You can just move it in there, and I'll throw you a cot in there. You'll be fine. No big deal. She'll feel better about it once you start cooking for her on that thing. What's everybody else's opinion on the beer can chicken? Let me know what you think. Somebody out there likes doing beer can chicken. I know they do. Let me know. Yeah, I bet that does work good, Peter. Yeah, Justin, the Webers are good too. The Webers are good. Here's the thing about Weber, Justin. Let me know what you think, Justin. Justin, I got a little Southern Comfort and Coke Zero. A little Southern Comfort left over from New Year's. Coke Zero because there's no sugar. That makes me feel better. The Weber kettle, I love my Weber kettle, and I hadn't done enough videos on it, and I got to get back to doing videos on that Weber kettle because I love it. But it took me forever to actually buy a Weber kettle, not because of the Weber kettle. I love the Weber kettle, but because of Weber kettle owners. I mean, you run across a Weber kettle owner and they truly believe that unless you're cooking on a Weber kettle, you don't have any idea what you're doing and you're doing it wrong, and that's all there is to it. Even if I mean, I've been on a Weber kettle Facebook page before and watched two Weber kettle guys going at it, arguing about who was doing it right and who was doing it wrong. I mean, it's like, you know, you looking at Weber kettle box, and somewhere in there, there's like a WWE belt that says, you know, that you're the barbecue champion of the world now or something because you're on a Weber kettle. And I love the Weber kettles. But man, some of the kettle owners are just off the chain. And so because of that, that just steered me away from them for a long time, you know. The grill's great. I love it. Love it. And it's a simple design, but they hit the nail on the head with it, and there's really nobody else that can, you know, can really top it, to be honest with you, as far as a kettle grill goes. Yeah, it is time for an upgrade. It's past time for an upgrade. Justin, that's it, brother. That is it. Charcoal is the only option. That's right. That is exactly right. And it's funny, man. I mean, there was a guy one time that was doing a video. I watched his video. He was doing a video. I forget what he was even cooking. It was a video about how to set up a Weber kettle. And I mean, he set it up and everything. He was doing the snake method. And but then he was going to cook some chicken or something. Anyway, he was fine until he brought out the charcoal lighter. And man, I thought some of the Weber kettle owners were going to hunt him down. I mean, they had pitchforks and torches in his yard, you know. I mean, I'm not a fan of charcoal lighter, but I mean, it's his grill, it's his backyard, you know. So, man, they're serious about it. The Rectech Bullseye. Wow, Peter. Y'all got some good questions tonight. I hate the video ain't hitting better. That's still aggravating me. I won't be able to sleep tonight. Weber kettle versus the Bullseye. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that Bullseye, I haven't used it. Let me say that first of all. But I'm going to judge a book by its cover on this one. I wouldn't give you $100 for that Bullseye. I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's just not a well thought out. I think that's going to wind up doing Rectech more harm than good in the long run. You know, let people use that thing for a year and see how they like it. I just don't see that lasting. I mean, first of all, there's no real, I don't think there's like a real grease trap or anything, and like you have to shut on and off the fire rod and with switches and all that stuff. I'd go with a Weber kettle all day long, 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. No question. I don't even think there's a comparison between those two. A turkey cannon infuser. Rick, you're schooling me. I'm going to have to go check that out. Stephen, you're right. All of them have their own purpose. That's exactly right. The Bullseye intrigues you, Peter? I want to know if the Bullseye intrigues Peter. Yeah, you're exactly right, John. I am drinking it for a reason. Don't let it intrigue you, Peter. Stay away from it. Stay far away. Yeah, I think that thing's going to do more harm than good for Rectech. You know, some of these grill companies seem to, in an attempt to just push products out there for more sales, it's like some of them don't really think through everything before they actually put it out there. And to me, that's one of those things, you know. That's kind of like a Ford Pinto or a Chevy Vega or something, you know. Didn't turn out too good. One quick thing I want everybody's opinion on too, while I'm thinking about it and while we got into the little Weber thing. Something else I want y'all's opinions on. I have not dry aged any meat yet, and I've seen videos on them and stuff like that, and I would like to do that. You know, dry aging and like brining too. I don't brine a whole lot, and for the biggest reason is just because, and I know you can do it in a cooler, but I just don't have that much room in the refrigerator, and so if I could get another refrigerator for stuff like that, I would probably do more of that stuff. But I just, you know, I just haven't gotten into that yet, but I really would like to, because it looks really interesting. It intrigues me, as Peter said. But something else I wanted to ask y'all about. You know, I'm on Instagram too. If y'all hadn't checked me out on Instagram. I'm posting pictures and stuff like that, and links to videos sometimes and stuff. I like to see what y'all posting if y'all got an Instagram. But some of these guys do these giveaways on Instagram, and first of all, let me say it's nice that people do giveaways. I mean, I appreciate the giveaways, but to me, if you're going to do a giveaway, just do a giveaway. I have yet to join one of those giveaways because of this. They'll say, hey, we're going to give away a knife set. To join the giveaway, all you have to do is like this post, share this post, follow my channel, share my channel, go over to my Facebook page and like my Facebook page, tag 3 people in this post, and send me a picture of you doing a handstand. I mean, I'm not doing all that. That's more trouble than the knife set's worth. I would rather just go spend $300 on a knife set or something, I mean, that's too much work for me, Maybe it's easy for, like I say, maybe it's easy for some young bucks to do all that social media stuff. But man, I mean, come on, that's about 5 hula hoops too many to jump through for me. Yeah, just give it away. I promise you, if I ever do a giveaway, just like it, and I'm gonna randomly pick a name, and there you go. That's all it's gonna be. It's Jus Piddlin BBQ, Justin. Jus Piddlin BBQ. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know. I'll tell you. It's JUS _ Piddlin _ BBQ. Jus Piddlin BBQ. So check it out. I try to post some stuff that I don't normally incorporate in my videos or something like that, or might be what I'm doing for breakfast in the morning or something. I'll just take a shot and throw it on there. So John, if you don't know what Instagram is, you're probably not missing anything, brother. I wouldn't even worry about it. I wouldn't even worry about it. Appreciate it, Justin. I mean, I did Twitter for a while, and I still do it every now and then. And I was like tweeting my new videos and stuff like that. But man, I started getting so much junk on Twitter and all that stuff. It's just, and it's really hard to keep up with. If you've got a channel and you've got a Twitter and an Instagram and your YouTube channel with people commenting and a Facebook page, and I've got a Jus Piddlin Facebook page, man, it's hard to keep up with everybody, and especially on my YouTube channel, I really try to answer everybody's comment. I don't know that there's been but a handful, except for this summer when I wasn't feeling real well. Maybe a handful of people that have commented or asked questions where I didn't do some kind of comment back, and I really try to do that. But man, it's hard when you're trying to do that and doing a Facebook page, and people are commenting on there and stuff. And man, that Facebook page, I get so many spam friend requests and stuff. It's not even funny. It's terrible. Appreciate it, Stephen. Thank you, man. But so I've kind of let Twitter slide a little bit. Believe it or not, I had a Pinterest at one time too, and I was categorizing all my recipes by, pork and beef and chicken and, all that stuff, and main dishes and sides and all that. But I kind of got away from doing that too. I need to start doing that stuff again, I guess. I'm going to try to start doing more announcements and getting better about announcing stuff on that Facebook page. I need to take more advantage of that, I guess. It's kind of hard to keep track with. To be honest with you, it's a little overwhelming to, and like I say, it's the honest truth. I never expected 300 people to watch my channel, and now there's 3,000 people watching. But it's a little overwhelming because now I've kind of got to keep track of it. I don't know how people with a couple 100,000 subscribers keep up with all of it, to be honest with you. But I need to start paying attention more to that Facebook page and kind of put more info on there, so I'm going to try to do that. The accessory kit. Peter, I'm going to be honest with you. I never really had a big problem with grease dripping down the front of mine to begin with. Now, I know some people have. Maybe it's the way that they were cooking on it. I'm not sure. For me, I try to keep everything more toward the center of my grill if there's room. If room allows for that. And most of the time, if I use the top shelf, it's only for vegetables and side dishes and that kind of thing, stuff that's not real greasy. So I never really had that problem. The only problem that I've had so far with grease is twice, 3 times maybe in 2 years. I've had to clean out the exhaust cap of my chimney because grease will start collecting in there and dripping back down. And so I've had to clean it out 2 or 3 times. But I never really had a whole lot of problem with the grease. I just think it allows smoke to kind of roll over that lid, and instead of trying to escape out that gap, it kind of funnels it back into the grill a little bit. I think that's more of a benefit than anything for me. Maybe a little more heat retention and that kind of thing. Since I put that on there, the little grease trough, I guess, that's supposed to catch it, I've cleaned it out once since I've had it on there. I mean, that's how little grease I've gotten in there. So do you think you get a good sear with the grill grates when reverse searing a steak on the silverback? Julius, you talking about the aftermarket grill grates or just the standard grates that come with the grill? That's a good point, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, the accessory kit, that came with the attachment that went on the lid, the little trough, and did the grill jacks, they came with the accessory kit too, I believe. Now, I'm going to tell you, I use those grill jacks, the grate jacks, every time I clean my grill out. I love those things. And those things clean the grill grates better than any brush that I've ever used. It makes it easy taking that grate out. You don't even have to use your hands to pick it up with. I carry it over, set it down on the lid of my trash can. I pick it up, bring it back over, set it back in, and I never touch the grill grates with my hands with those grill jacks. I love that. That's my favorite part of that accessory kit. Aftermarket grill grates. Yeah, Julius, I'm sure you get an excellent sear with the grill grates, the aftermarket grill grates. I just don't have any. And to be honest with you, I don't. Here's the truth. On my pellet grills, I just don't sear a lot. I have found that my favorite way, and we talked about this earlier in the live stream about hot and fast or low and slow. I have gotten to where on my pellet smokers I do low and slow on just about everything, including burgers, including steaks. You know, a steak, I'll put some Dale seasoning on a steak and let it sit in that pan in the Dales for an hour or two, or some Worcestershire sauce, and season it with some rub and just let it sit there for an hour or two, and then I'll put it on my pellet smoker at 250, 275, and I just smoke it, and no, it doesn't have the sear marks, but it's like tender as butter. I mean, you can cut it with a fork, and so I don't care if it's got sear marks on it or not. If I was in a steak competition, I might care about it, but I really don't. Here's the other thing about sear marks. Sear marks. Let's talk about sear marks. Sear marks are kind of like, again, fat cap up, fat cap down. Or like beer can chicken, like we were talking about earlier. If you think about sear marks on a steak, the only part of that steak that's seared is the part that has the mark on it. That's the only part that's seared. Now, when I did those steaks on the Watchman stove, the whole entire steak was seared. There was no grill grate marks. The whole steak was seared. And that's where you get the most flavor. So it looks cool. I love grill marks. But if you're really thinking about searing for flavor, the grill marks aren't really, searing the whole steak. They're searing where the grill marks are. So just something to think about. Yeah, I mean, it is, and that's the thing. You see these guys at steak competitions. A lot of guys are using those PK grills for steak competitions, and they're winning a lot of steak competitions with those PK grills. But they're using the aftermarket grill grates on the PK. So, and they've got those pretty grill grate marks on there. But if you had a great steak, my cat is going crazy. One of my animals is going to show their tail every time I do a video. Never fails. But, you could have a great steak, seared all the way across, but it doesn't have the grill grates. They're not going to win. Sorry, but they're not going to win. Cast iron sear. That's the way to go. And I have done that on my pellet smoker, on the Silverback. I have it's a Lodge pizza, cast iron pizza pan, 14.5 inches or something like that. And I smoked a steak and then cranked it up and then put that cast iron pizza pan on there with some butter and then laid that steak in there, and it was an awesome steak. That's a great point. Cast iron is the way to sear a steak. What's my cat's name? Man, y'all are coming up with some stuff. First of all, this was my mom's kitten. The cat's daddy is a bobcat, and half of its brothers and sisters didn't have tails. And but this one's got a tail, but we took her, and it was supposed to be my daughter's cat. Well, you see who's got the cat, not my daughter. Uh, but at the time, my daughter was cheerleading for a competition cheer team, and they were called the Revolution. And so she named the cat Revo. And now, that's probably the stupidest cat name on the planet, but that's her name. So, and we're taking care of it. That's a great point, Peter. I mean, that's the perfect point. And there's no grill marks in most kitchens. You know, the complete steak is seared. Yeah, that's true, Justin. You can flip those grill grates over, and it's more of a flat side. And really, you would probably get better flavor searing a steak on that flat side than you would having those pretty, grill marks. So, it's you kind of got to decide. Do you want it to look pretty or you want it to taste good? I guess it depends on who's eating it. If I'm eating it, I'd rather taste good. I have just recently started seeing the beefer. There's something else that is like the beefer, the Auto Wild or something like that. They're kind of neat little apparatuses, I just don't do enough searing to own one, I guess. Has it really been 7 months? No, there's no way, Rick. No way. Has it been? Let's see, I came back, I did a couple. It might have been. It might have been. This weekend, Rick, silverback cook this weekend. I'll call it right now. And I might do I got a nice, here's another thing. Y'all are bringing all the bad stuff out tonight. I've got a salmon fillet in the freezer. Now, some jackleg this past week gave me hell about saying salmon because it's salmon where he comes from. And he said, clearly, I'm not from salmon country. Well, he must be a genius to figure that out. No, I'm not from salmon country. And in South Georgia, it's a salmon. So I'm going to cook some salmon on my silverback this weekend. Just for Rick. So there you go. And I'll film it for Rick Short. But I appreciate you pointing that out. That's the thing. That's the thing. There's it's fish. Salmon. And why are you going to watch a video and point something like that out unless you have nothing better to do? Fish Saturday. There it is. But there's benefits between there's benefits of having multiple grills when you got a YouTube channel. But then there's also drawbacks, like the Weber kettle. I can't remember the last time I did a Weber kettle video. I had planned on doing one this past Saturday, and the meat didn't thaw out in time and all that stuff, and then we had company come over, and it just didn't work out. But, I try to show a little love to all of them, and ultimately somebody gets neglected, So I'll get the old silverback out and show him some love this weekend. Just plain heck. Pak the con, yeah. That's good. Bourbon Barrel Kentucky Glaze and Southern Comfort. Well, I took care of the Southern Comfort, so there won't be any of that. But I'll come up with something good. I know exactly what I'm going to come up with. It'll be a surprise, I'm not going to tell you. But it'll be a good one. Definitely be a good one. So, and I've even got it, Rick, and you called it. I've even gotten it written down right here. Upcoming cooks, salmon with a question mark. So that's what it's going to be. Perfect. Too close to Boston. Well, I see it's still a little jumpy. I guess it's been jumpy about the whole time. I may next time, I'll tell you what, sometime before next Wednesday, I'm going to do another one, just a practice one. And I'm going to do it in 720 and see if that helps. If that helps, then we'll just keep it that way. If not, I'll figure it out somehow. I appreciate y'all sticking in there with me through all that. Sometimes it says it's got a good stream, and then sometimes it says it's not, so I don't know. But I'll figure it out. Is that cheat? The griddle cheat? How's the keto going? I'm 4 days in. I feel great, but I do get carb cravings. Well, I appreciate that, John. Yeah, it may be best that it's skipping, John, now that you mention it. Now that you mention it. Jason, I've been thinking about doing a video, and I know it's not barbecue related, but in a way it is, I guess. Just about a keto update. As of right now, I'm 20 pounds down, and about 3¼ inches that I've lost around my belly, and I feel good. Is it hard sometimes? Yeah, it's hard sometimes because I love bread. I love pasta. I don't really miss sugars. That's probably the easiest thing that I've given up. I say I don't miss sugars. I don't miss sweets. I don't miss like sugar in my tea or anything, coffee or anything like that. I do miss fruits, but fruits have a lot of sugar in them too, and so we don't eat fruits. But I don't miss the sugars. I do miss the bread. I do miss the pasta some. But we have found some ways around the bread. We like a lot of Mexican food. We had chicken fajitas tonight that I made, and we found some low carb tortillas, and so that saved the day for us. And I found a pancake recipe, keto pancake recipe that I actually turned into a muffin recipe. We just pour them into little muffin tins. And then my wife made some more tonight so that we can have them for breakfast in the morning. And they're really good, and they have the perfect macros. They're about 70% fat, 20% protein, 10% carbs, something like that. But it is hard sometimes. It is challenging, and there are a lot of keto recipes out there, and here's the thing, and y'all won't ever see me do this on my channel. There are people out there doing keto recipes, and they You know, like for example, I love pizza. My wife, pizza is her favorite food. So we miss pizza sometimes. But there are people out there that make pizza with a cauliflower crust. Now, I don't care what you do to cauliflower. And they eat it and they say, ooh, it tastes just like real pizza. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I've eaten it. And it does not. Cauliflower rice, it's okay, but it's not rice. You know? Zucchini noodles. They're good, but they're not pasta. You know? Now, there are some things that we eat that's keto that's pretty good. Those muffins that we make, they're pretty good. But, you know, some of the stuff there's just not any substitute for. And so it's challenging. But I can say that, you know, I don't remember the last time I went through a fast food restaurant, you know, drive-through. Or I don't know the last time I had a candy bar or, you know, like a lot of sugar, you know. So the first couple of weeks is the hardest. But then after the first couple of weeks, you start getting into it. You start getting into a routine. That's the biggest thing is you've got to get into a routine. You have to plan ahead. Because if you don't plan ahead and you get caught with your pants down, next thing you know, you're at the McDonald's drive-thru because you're hungry and didn't have anything to eat. And then you screw up once and then you just quit. And you can't do that. So just stay at it, man. If you need some help, you know, and need encouragement, let me know. Okay, Anderson, I'll try to do that. Probably why you didn't get the exact measurements because there's not an exact measurement. I measure those the way my mama measured stuff when she made biscuits. You know, I wanted her recipe for biscuits. Well, Mama, how much do you know, put in there? Well, you just, you know, put it in there until it feels right. Well, I don't know how it feels. What does feel right? I don't know how it feels, you know. You tell me how it feels. I don't know. So I still can't make her biscuits because I never got exact measurements. But I'll try to do a better job at measuring it out so that you can kind of be successful with it. But it is kind of a feel thing, you know. The more of that Heinz 57 sauce you have in the burgers, the more they're going to want to fall apart. And if they get like that, the more Parmesan you're going to want to add to hold it together. But if you're doing it on a pellet grill, once you put them on, here's the key. First of all, put them on a pan and then put them in the refrigerator and let them get cold. When they get cold, they kind of tighten up and that helps them hold together. Then when you put them on your pellet smoker, don't touch them. You don't have to flip them. You don't have to do anything. Just leave them alone until they get done. And then gently get them off and they're really good. Lentil pasta. I'll have to check into that. Salmon. Is salmon still a fish? Salmon is not a fish, Rick, but salmon is a fish. And I'll be cooking fish on Saturday. Anytime, Jason, just let me know, you know, if you need some encouragement or something, man. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I'm back in the gym too, John, and I think it helps. I've been able to tell a difference because, you know, I used to work out in the past and I would always think, I thought that my biceps always got wider and not taller. And now I've come to realize that my biceps weren't getting wider. they were just covered with a lot of fat. Because now that I've lost some fat, I can actually tell that my biceps are more narrow at the top than wider because they were covered in all that fat. But I am starting to see a little bit of muscle fiber, I guess, you know, which is kind of exciting. I got a long way to go. You know, it took 46 years to put this belly fat on, and it's not going to come off, you know, quick. But I'm at the point now where some new jeans and a new belt are in order because, you know, they're starting to get a little baggy, which is a good thing. So, you know, my brother John, my brother's right there with you. He's about where you're at, and he's thinking about doing the same thing. You know. Take care, Jason. Stephen, you going to Brunswick? You going down, how you getting there? You going 75 or 16? Stephen might already be gone. You going down 95. Stephen, where are you coming from? Yeah, Brunswick, you only hour and a half, about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes away. Julius, thank you, man. Thank you very much. Look forward to you coming back. Thank you. Rock Hill, South Carolina. I got you. Is that close to Florence, Stephen? Do you check out Phil in Florence? Just south of Charlotte. Gotcha. Well, stay safe down there in Brunswick. Brunswick, Savannah, all those places are starting to get pretty bad down that way. Steve, if there's anything I can do for you while you're down here, let me know. Well, guys, I think I'm going to get off here too. We've been about an hour and 10 minutes strong, somewhere like that. I appreciate all of you sticking with me through everything. And, you know, especially with the video stuff and all that, the video issues. But I'm going to try to get those fixed as soon as I can. Yeah, you take care too, Stephen. But I'm going to try to get that kind of stuff fixed, and we'll see how it goes. But again, I appreciate every single one of you. And stay tuned for that fish video coming up Saturday for Rick. And if there's anything I can do for any of you, let me know. And until next time, I'll be piddling.